What's going on, guys? As you know, you've seen it on the channel already. Klee is coming back at 1.6. We need to talk a little bit about the 1.6 banners because you need as much contextual information as possible, because there's a lot of stuff, because Klee's on a rerun banner that's out there already on YouTube or on Reddit or on some other social media circle or whatever's going on, and you need to understand that a lot of the stuff that's saying Klee's like super good, you have to take that in context of what we were talking about when those videos first came out. Now, I'll talk about the Ganyu video that I put out when we start talking about Kazuha as well, because I'm going to tackle both of these characters at the same time. And that's going to be sort of an inverse thing of the Ganyu video I put up about him. But let's tackle Klee first here. So Klee, character, Pyro Catalyst, has a 4-star version of her, basically Yanfei already. But back in the day, you have to remember, she was the second banner to come out. First was Venti, God tier support DPS, still is to this day. Then we had our second banner ever, which was our first on banner DPS. This means that if you wanted a 5-star character that was a main DPS, she was the first one. You couldn't pull for Diluc and get Diluc, or Mona and get Mona. There was no pity for these characters. Those were on a different banner. So a lot of people got Klee, and she was very good at the time when she came out. Now, her kit is something else. She's a long-range character, but her range is actually extremely short, right? She's supposed to be a ranged character, but you have to be like point-blank melee range with this character. Super close. She's got tiny amounts of HP, defense, pitiful amounts there. Her kit is actually kind of discombobulated. It's all over the place. It's very slow is what I really want to say there. She wants to be fast and dodgy. She's got low HP, but you have to learn all of the animation cancels. You have the jump animation cancel. You have the auto attack and auto attack animation cancel for the chain gun, as it's called, animation cancel. You have the automation animation cancel into your E, into your charge attack, back into a normal. There's a lot of stuff you have to do out there, and that's just to do sufficient DPS. You need to learn all of these tricks and all of these different things just to make her your main DPS nowadays. Now, you could do that before, and if you learned how to do that back in the day when she first came out, before MiHoYo has buffed literally the Abyss 19,000 times with monsters, sometimes before it comes to launch, like hundreds of thousands of HP, she was good. She could cruise through a bunch of stuff, was rated very highly as well, because the hardest thing back in the day was still the Abyss, and it was all cryo enemies, and she did a bunch of damage. And there was even some sort of pyro bonuses for a lot of the damage in the Abyss as well. So she melted through everything. You just hit that left click button, close your eyes, open them up, and you know that little girl be there. Klee coming in, killing everything for you with literally no effort. But now to make her with the meta, right? And this is sort of like a meta sort of thing, but this kind of also applies to you guys, right? Because is it worth your primo gem? Should you spend your pity on this character or that character? If you just like the character, awesome. But MiHoYo has been buffing up the Abyss, and it's kind of forced people to think about meta instead of characters they really like. Because if they have a character who's just kind of really garbage in the meta, well, they're not going to pull on that, obviously. So what do when they come out with new characters? They buff up the Abyss, they release a new character, whether it's Ganyu, right? Whether it's Hu Tao, whether it's the good old new Eula, Shao, all of this different stuff. Slightly little power creeps up and up and up, and this is the first time they've reran a DPS character, right? And this is the first DPS character that they ever made on her own banner, right? We're not talking about Diluc or Keqing, right? Although Diluc is still really good, Keqing's always kind of suffered from being Electro, but that's a whole different video for a different topic and a different day. But what we have with Klee, we have this really disjointed, really slow, unless you learn all the tricks in the book, sort of DPS character. She can still put up there if you have a good Xing Shou and stuff, but she has a 4-star character, and there's a ton of other characters that are 5-star main DPSs that have had their own banners that just do way more as a main DPS. Now, if you're a big whale or something and you have Constellation 4, then she can be your support DPS because she's got energy recharge, right? When she crits, she can go in there, do her stuff, defense break them, because you'll have C2 with your C4. So defense break them with the jumpy dumpies, and then just swap out whenever you want. If you're not that, you're C0, you pop that L1 burst, you are locked in there to get full value. You have to stay there until it ends, because if you swap out, it goes away. So she suffers from a lot of this stuff when it comes to Klee. Like, she is so difficult to play and so cumbersome. It's kind of like playing like the old Monster Hunter game back when you had like crab crawl control it, right? The claw move where you're like trying to do this number with your controller to play Monster Hunter for the PS2 back in the day, that's kind of what it's like. So that's just basically Klee in a nutshell. Is she worth it? If you like paying $300 or $400 or wasting your pity or using your pity, because it's not a waste if you like her, on a cute character who isn't top tier meta or anything anymore, that's on you. That's totally fine. You play that game, you have fun with your game. Number one on this channel is you have fun with what you want. But for me, I can't sit there and be like, yeah, she's totally worth your pull. We'll have a guide out for her with all the new information and how she does and what's good for her in the new Dotaka book and stuff. For sure. Will she never shut up as she runs around the world and shows me all the mushrooms and stuff for her? 100% she will. But that's what Klee is. So I'm kind of trying to hammer this home because of that context thing, right? I had a video on her. You want to check that one out? Go ahead and do that when I'll hammer more of this home. Now let's move on to the new character who not a lot of people know about yet, right? We have Kazuha in 1.6 as well. So Kazuha, I will lead with this. He's going to be really fun to play. I can say that much, right? He's got a 6-second press on his E. You can jump in the air, do a plunging attack, right? That attack will count as a plunging attack. That's going to be awesome. He's going to be like a main elemental mastery character because that's his main shtick with his ascension. He's a animal character who his main role is to boost your damage and then offer a little bit of support damage as well. And that's cool. The problem with that is we've kind of already had some of this stuff before, and there's a 4-star character, Sucrose, which a lot of people still don't really use all that often. But if you're someone in there, you're doing a Vaporize or Melt team, you really want to have an animal character in your party. You just do. It's just so strong. Viridescent Venom set for that resistance down. Sucrose will buff up the Vaporize or Melt effects, which I have a video on that comparing these two characters already. That's going to be awesome as well, and that kind of correlates to what this boy is going to be doing there because he wants to build elemental mastery. Like Sucrose wants to build elemental mastery. Sucrose wants to build elemental mastery because she will give you and your whole party, right? Your main DPS is what we're really looking for here. A portion, 20% plus a raw 50 of her elemental mastery to them, which will then buff up their Vaporize and Melt damage. And then in 1.6, as well as Overload is going to get a huge buff to that, and Electrolyze is going to get a huge elemental mastery to damage percent buff for those things as well. And that's going to play into a couple other compositions, right? The Child double Electro team. But then we have this new character. We have big old samurai man Kazuha coming in. Like I said, going to be super awesome to play, and a lot of people are going to be pulling for him because he's new. He looks super cool, super awesome, and I hope you have a ton of fun with him. The problem with him, though, is we've already had this kind of animal character before. The animal character who's there as a support DPS. It was the first banner in the game. It was Venti. Now, maybe you missed Venti. Maybe you missed him when he came back. Maybe you just started playing the game. Maybe you don't have a Sucrose. Maybe you don't have any of these other stand-ins for this character. And that would be a good reason to pull for this character. If you don't have any other, you have no Sucroses, no Ventis, none of those two characters, then this is going to be a good opportunity for you to get in on the Animo support stuff. He's also going to be held back a little bit by, sadly, how effective he really is and how hard he's going to be to build to really maximize his stuff. And this is touched on, like I said, in the video I put up just the other day. And this is because the stuff that you're really looking for, elemental mastery, that's going to be his best stat by and large. It's going to boost up a lot of the stuff that he's really there to do. And yeah, you could give him that animal goblet, you can give him the crit chance circlet, you can give him the attack percent sands, but if you're doing that, then he's not really there doing his main role. Like, you can build Sucrose or Gene full attack and damage and stuff, but they're never going to compete with an actual DPS. If you want to play the game that way, go for it, but they're never going to compete in that role because they're supposed to be, and they're designed to be a sub support with a little bit of damage at C0, and you're trying to make them compete with Diluc and Hu Tao and Eula and Gani and all these. They're gonna fall flat on their face. You remember when Super Mario 64, right? What castle is that? The big thwomp dude just falls over? That's gonna be you in the game. You're gonna be on the floor, right? Oh my god, why am I doing? It's gonna look cool. You're gonna feel like a ninja jumping up, coming down, doing 30k. Awesome. But you're never going to do more than that. Why? Well, here's the other reason. He's an Animo character, and he boosts damage for the elements he swirls. And all the other Animo characters, unless you have high constellations, there's no way in the game to reduce Animo resistance, which means he's not benefiting from Superconduct. He's not benefiting from Viridescent set. He's not benefiting from anything. So he's always going to be fighting with natural, neutral resistances. So you're not going to be able to boost his damage in any super significant way when it comes to element resist down. You just can't do it. You can't do it. So he's never going to compare to these other big resist characters. He's going to be really hard to build. And even if you want to take the easy route out, right, give him some more damage, but take away his elemental mastery stat, which is going to take away how effective his sub DPS role is, because he's going to do more damage for himself. But your main DPS, who does a larger amount of base damage because that's their job, well, now they're not doing as much as they could because you wanted your boy to come in, use his E, come down and do a little bit more damage with that. You want to hit that nice 30k mark. If you want that sort of character, wait for an Albedo rerun, because Albedo will do that stuff. Albedo will buff elemental mastery for free at C0. You can stock him up on defense, crit chance, crit damage, and that will buff your character with the elemental mastery, buff their damage in these reaction comps, and his Isotama doesn't remove reactions, so that's going to be awesome. He's going to generate shields for you, and he's been hitting people every 2 seconds with the right build for 18 to 22k. Easy mode. So wait for that Albedo rerun. So if you want to see more stuff about either of these two characters, check out the other videos on the channel, and if you're brand new here, come on back for more. We all have these talks from time to time, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care, guys.